Africa is no longer in this space where it's just ingesting what's cool. They're actually exporting it to a global stage. So what that means is like, Rema just sold out O2 in London. Burna Boy sold out Madison Square Garden. Ashake is traveling everywhere. Even Kenya's own Elsa Majimbo is signed to CAA, which is Creative Artist Agency. You have Black Panther that generated over $1 billion. Beyonce had Black is King. There's never been a more exciting time to be in Africa, to visit Africa, to wear African clothes, to try African foods, and to ultimately share your stories from the continent. As media executives and technology leaders, we have a role to play in nurturing this economy by figuring out ways to create a sustainable ecosystem for creators to thrive in. By supporting African creators, investing in digital platforms, and fostering an environment of creativity and collaboration, we can amplify the voice and impact of these creators. When we speak about audio, it's always played a really central role in African culture, from the oral traditions of storytelling to the rhythms that define our diverse musical heritage. Today, this tradition is transformed through digital technology. The rise of podcasting, music platforms, streaming services is more than just a technological shift. It's a cultural one. It provides a unique medium that is accessible, personal, and connected deeply to our African identity. We are perfectly positioned and primed for the pickup of podcasts, and I urge you all to seriously take a look at the opportunities and what they are in this ecosystem. Never before have African people had the chance to tell the stories their way, in the language they want, and connect with listeners within and outside the continent. We are seeing growth of podcast creator, podcast listener, advertiser, and people just generally knowing what podcasts are. Media and entertainment is a $25 billion market size in Africa. Market leaders such as Google, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, Citigroup, Ford, Dell, they've all set up headquarters here in Africa. It's an opportunity to preserve culture, languages, and momentum. We get to entertain and educate, and to create content that resonates with a global audience while staying rooted to African reality. This digital era presents significant economic opportunities for Africa. The rise of digital platforms and the creator economy is not just a cultural phenomenon, it's an economic driver. The opportunities for jobs, entrepreneurship, and revenue generation are immense here. And digital platforms especially provide an unprecedented avenue for African entrepreneurs and creators to reach global markets. This access opens up a world of possibilities for revenue generation, be it through digital content, e-commerce, or online services. When we think about the future of digital in Africa, it's exciting to know that the opportunities are limitless. We see emerging technologies like AI, blockchain, startups, new media like podcasting, and the creator community with huge potential for transforming each one of these various sectors. I believe the youth in Africa will be at the forefront of this transformation. With Africa being the youngest continent in the world at an average age of 19, and with the largest Gen Z in the world, according to Kenga magazine, which is a magazine that's based in Nairobi but developed by a Nigerian. The energy of this young group is unmatched by their creativity and tech savviness being the key drivers of innovation. By harnessing their potential, Africa has the opportunity to truly command impact in this digital arena.
You can't get good at something without being really bad at it. Let's just be really honest about that. You have to be comfortable with failing. And there's an expression that I learned when I was at the Startup Machine. It was in Techstars. They would say, fail fast, succeed faster. You have to get really comfortable with the fact that one time when you make a mistake, the next time you're not going to do it. Your first episode or your first thing you do is not going to be as good as your 100. Starting allows you to have the first position to grow. It's part of your journey. And you don't know who's going to be inspired by you or who wants to listen to you. But if you are willing to enter this content space and leverage your personality and your voice, you're brave. It takes time, it takes effort, and ultimately, everyone has something special. So just realize you're not going to be great out the gate, but you have people who love you, you have community that's ingrained in you. Focusing on perfection will actually stop you from getting anywhere, and I've seen that myself. So just get out there, be okay not being good at it, realizing that when you're failing, you can move forward, and you've got something special. I guess in regards to the strategies, what I would say is leverage the communities you have, look for resources, use internet, use hashtags. If you're in college, create groups, find people who can support you, look for mentors, ask for help. The worst that anyone is ever going to say to you is no. They're not going to beat you, I promise. So put yourself in that position to get comfortable receiving the no. Because what if they say yes? What if someone says yes? That's a huge opportunity. So just lean into that, and then very practically, if anyone is a podcaster here and you can't afford equipment or you can't go out, something that helps with soundproofing, if you can't afford the space, go into your closet, get a duvet, and sit there and record on your phone. It'll act like a sound booth, and it works really well. The digital space is really scary to people because you can't control it. You can't control the internet. It's out there. So why is it that, how is Amapiano everywhere? It's because of the internet. You can't stop the internet unless you shut down the internet. And I think we do see that sometimes on the continent, which becomes a problem when you're trying to get information out. I mean, it happens in the West, but a lot less. But I hear what you're saying, and ultimately what I would tell you is that the problem that you're highlighting, I'm not sure how long that's going to be a problem. I think that the bigger problem is going to be our government policies in place to support the creators. Are they going to tax them nonstop so that people can't? What are we doing to enable the next YouTuber who wants to, I don't know, build mobile towers or whatever it may be? Like, there's so much money here. And I think that, I don't want to get into like the nuances of that conversation, but someone was able to make money off of the internet and change the life of 500,000 people through wells. That can't be stopped. No one can stop that.
How then can media stations use this digital transformation to ensure that we have inclusivity as well as trying to maintain the journalistic integrity and also deal with misinformation at the same time?
Not only is digital transformation coming for your job, but AI too. You're getting hit on all angles. And I think it really does boil back to people, right? Like, people are able to create communities. People are able to engage with others. You're not going to lose that touch. But what I will say is, like, for instance, radio stations. We do something called broadcast to podcast, where we take radio stations and turn it into evergreen content through a stream URL. Basically, the stream that's playing the radio, we upload it to the platform, and we're working on an AI tool to determine where there's music or where there's sound. But I think that, in a lot of ways, being scared of moving forward actually causes more problems. And I think you need to, especially with these established legacy organizations, I think they're concerned about brand integrity, so they can't move as fast as like a lean startup like we could. But ultimately, you're gonna have to get comfortable with spending money in a space that's not generating income for a while. When you were talking, I was like trying to figure out what is the format, because someone like Kibbs, Tonio from Homeboys or from Sandwich Podcast, he was a comedian before, and he would record these little videos to go online. That format may also require a camera crew, but it also may not have the same integrity of the film that you're speaking about as a filmmaker. I think that the tech platforms that are ultimately going to support that, YouTube is probably the best audio-visual example out. And not only are they doing well with like long-form content and short-form content with shorts, they're coming for every single vertical possible. Google has endless money. So I think that like leaning into those platforms and playing with them, obviously Quibi was a bit of a fail. But Twitch is still doing well, and I think I have a very interesting stat I saw on LinkedIn. Twitch is one of the higher paying platforms for creators. YouTube is the most, I think it's 42.8% that they paid out. Facebook is abysmal, they paid 0.04%, less than 1% out. And I think Twitch was somewhere in the 20s, I can share it with you afterwards. But what I would say is, especially if you're focusing on the audio-visual component, you're going to want to lean into the platforms that already have the infrastructure in place. You're not going to want to wait for someone to do something. Take up as much space as you can now. Attention span is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And you are seeing short-form content become very, very popular. I think that we're just going to have to lean into it. We're ultimately going to be overloaded with content, and I think people are concerned about that. But the reality is, like, people want customized experiences. You're going to want to hear about film. I'm going to want to hear about African beauty traditions. I want to hear about neuroscience. You're going to want to hear about meditation. And so short-form content to me is digestible. I do think things are cyclistic, so I don't think long-form content will go anywhere. I would definitely watch Disney see what's going on with Disney. The day they stop producing movies, they know something. But I am very fascinated by Generation Alpha. I think that there's a lot that's going to change with Gen Z, and I wonder how that's going to impact the incoming youth. But I think your hypothesis is probably correct. Like, just thinking on the spot now, I think short-form content will be more popular. I think that long-form content will be harder to generate like a big audience for.
My name is Flora Limukii. I am a journalist at TV47. And I'll be taking you through this session where we'll be discussing matters big data, matters artificial intelligence, matters digital transformation, and in relation to the African media ecosystem. So to help me shed more light on this conversation is Egline Samoei, who is already here. Give her a round of applause as she comes up stage. Great, I love the energy. And we have Oscar Owiti, who is also part of this panel this afternoon. Also Benaiah Wepundi, who has been part of Answer from Wednesday, to Thursday, all the way to Friday, when we are having our very last day of the eDigital Connect Summit 2023. It's been amazing, and I'm really looking forward to having this conversation. Of course, Mercy Sega will be joining us a little bit later, but the conversation this afternoon is about big data, AI adoption, as well as digital transformation. Let me give my panelists just less than a minute each to introduce themselves.
Flora, before our panelists begin, I see Mercy is already here with us. Maybe she can just come.
Oh yeah, welcome Mercy. Give us a round of applause as she comes around. Let me start with Egline. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you, Flora. Okay, thank you so much. My name is Egline Samoei. I'm a digital marketer by profession. So that's what I do day in, day out. So when I say a digital marketer, my role is to help businesses, solopreneurs tap into the power of digital marketing. Other than that, I also do corporate trainings on digital marketing. I'm also a tutor for the digital marketing course. So that's who I am.
My name is Benaiah. I am the founder and chief maverick at Gateway Technologies. What we do at Pay is we're building a platform to enable gig workers, that is freelancers and creatives, transform their freelance hustles into sustainable sources of income. Happy to be here.
My name is Oscar Owiti, CEO and co-founder at YourDrive. So YourDrive is technically, I would say, a mobile garage, pocket garage instance. We're trying to make it easy to own your vehicle and service your vehicle at convenience.
My name is Mercy Sega. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. I'm just here to discuss matters law and AI. And I think if I wasn't a lawyer, I'd probably be a techie. So this is just me trying to fulfill my dream in another way. Yeah.
Perfect. I'll give each one of your tasks so that we give people a perspective of what we're discussing. Tell us just a brief about artificial intelligence. You will tell us about digital transformation, and you will help us with the big data part.
If you look at for the definition of artificial intelligence in a layman's person, or in a way that someone tries to understand it, I would say is maybe the techie guys here will be able to also tell us their perspective. But for me as a marketer, is trying to understand is that there are technologies that they are very intelligent, that are able even to mimic what a human is able to do.
Day-to-day lives, both like right now and even in the past, there's a lot of data that sort of we create and like exists. By having this collection of data from like our day-to-day processes in business and even just in life, from one step to another, making use of that data to sort of make decisions in the future.
Digital transformation is more about how we are transforming the normal data to digital or tech access or platform access. So like the big data you've been talking about, how quick is it to get access of maybe attendance info at the comfort of your home. So basically, for me, that would be digital transformation.
When you think of AI, big data, digital transformation, they need a legislative framework for them to be able to work effectively in any jurisdiction. So the law is intertwined in all of them, in the sense that the users, the creators, and the programmers need to abide with the law if there is a law. And if there is no law, what kind of law needs to be put in place for AI, big data, and digital transformation to have the effect it needs to have in society?
Perfect. And then let's just get right into the whole discussion now. How do you see artificial intelligence transforming our daily lives, perhaps in the next even 5 years or even or a decade?
I see AI making more of our work easier, and I see more of the things we do on a day-to-day basis, like scheduling. More scheduling will be as easy as inputting stats on a platform and you get clear schedule. The other thing I'm seeing about AI and the growth of AI is maybe I'll talk more in the space I'm in right now, where you can comfortably chat your car issues and you get response instantly without looking at going to a mechanic. Also, the other impact to the other AI impact that I'm seeing in the next few years is we'll have a lot of jobs that will be redundant based on AI and its efficiency that it's bringing into business and into the ecosystem at large. So over time, we are going to get more efficiency, and we are also going to get a little bit more pain in terms of fitting in as humans with the machines.
As much as AI is making lots of jobs redundant, it's also creating so many opportunities, for us to create more jobs, right? Part-time, I work as a prompt engineer for a company in the US, and my work is simply to tell ChatGPT what information to give us. It looks like it's not a job at all, but it's actually something that is coming up. So I think how to make AI inclusive, it comes back to us, those who are developing platforms and developing solutions, and even the businesses to sort of transform what we call the traditional roles, or how we execute traditional roles and traditional jobs into adapting AI. I'll give the example of digital marketing, right? Janet and Egline will tell you about that. I think right now, as a startup founder or as a marketer, I can go to ChatGPT and ask it to give me copy for say a blog, or to give me copy for an Instagram post. I mean, it will give me copy, but it won't be as effective as a digital marketer will do it. So you can imagine how effective a digital marketer using AI is going to be compared to just somebody using AI. So I think how to make AI inclusive is to encourage people in what I call the traditional roles to sort of shift or incorporate these up-and-coming technologies into how they deliver the day-to-day work, which will down the line increase the quality of work that is done, and even speed and efficiency.
AI will take away your job if you don't upskill and know how to use these tools. But if you learn how to use these tools, you will remain in the game. Because at the end of it all, we need AI need humans. Even when they are training these tools, when it comes from the data collections, the humans that are the ones collecting the training. So it's with the training also of these tools, it's the humans plus the computers. So if you position yourself well, you understand how to use these tools, you'll be one of the people that will not be replaced by the job, but you will stand even to have many jobs. And besides that, like you said, is an AI prompt engineer. So that's one of the roles that was not there. So AI, yes, will agree, it will remove some jobs, take away some jobs, but in it again, it will introduce new roles. So it is upon you as a person, as an individual, as a business to upskill and understand how to use these technologies. Like just the way you said, AI prompt engineer was something that was not there. Maybe for the last 1 year, but it's now a new job. So the thing is,
learn how to use these tools. Perfect. You will secure your job, and AI is here to stay. Yeah, and AI is.
Why is there a gap in the law when it comes to AI? You guys, when people are creating laws, we are creating laws for people. There are no laws against artificial intelligence. What do I mean? Any law is created by humans for humans, meaning for you to prosecute a case, you have to be a natural person. And if you're not a natural person, at least you have to be a legal entity, e.g. companies. And what are the elements of either a natural person or a legal entity to be able to enjoy the rights that are created in law? There are about 4, which I'm not sure as we speak AI fits in. For example, if you are to prosecute someone or something, they have to have the ability to contract. So does an AI program have the ability to contract? I believe not. Number 2, you have to have the ability to sue or be sued. So can Alexa sue? No, I don't think so. Can Siri sue us? No. Number 3, you have to have the ability to own property. So the Huduma number program, can it own property? No, it can't. Number 4, you have to have the ability to be perpetually succeeded. In other words, after you die, can your estate be succeeded by someone else? AI programs don't have that. And these are the main 4 elements that makes the law work for an individual or a company.
When try to digitize things, they should consider that. And there's the issue of bias and discrimination really comes in when you talk about matters AI. How do you think that then we can avoid having these AI algorithms be free of bias and discrimination and coming up with them?
Yeah, so there are two stages or two parts of training any AI or machine learning algorithm. So there's a bit where you're training it to now what we're calling big data, which is like large data sets from now moving back. And then now there's a bit where it's actual humans now interacting with the system after. So machine learning is where the machine is given, the system is given data and then it learns itself from that data. So from that point then we have these actual human beings, right? So data scientists, AI engineers interacting with these systems and sort of teaching it and correcting these biases. And I think that is why when you compare the biases that say what in ChatGPT when it first launched to date, there's a huge difference because there's like continuous improvement. And I think it's something that it's not just in AI but generally in tech. Version 1 is never the best of the versions. So as we move on, I think we're going to see more inclusive AI systems as they continue to learn, right? So for instance, and you can also play your own role in teaching the AI. So when it gives you a response that is biased, you tell it, you let it know that this response is not accurate, it's biased. So yeah, continuously, and that is the whole thing about artificial intelligence. It's intelligent, it keeps learning. So as we move on, we're going to see less and less of these biases, but it's a process, it's going to take time.
There are some cases, I once read a case by a Google engineer where they were saying that the AI tool that was used at Google had become very intelligent. So in fact, when the guy exposed that, I think he was fired or something, he read that story. So maybe there is a possibility, but I'm not sure. I can't really say I'm very sure, but maybe with the data that is being used and the more we continue training it, it will be very, very smart. That it can really solve even simple problems or even I can say the complex problems that we have. But matter of I can't be the one to really confirm that it will be very smart. But definitely there have been incidences about that that happened at Google. So maybe it will happen in future, but I don't want to for that. So the next part was
how would we prepare for this time if at all it will come?
The thing is, yes, we need to be ready, we need to be aware. So these are the things that we anticipate because definitely AI is still a new thing. So if you look at it, maybe 3 or 2 years ago, it wasn't really very huge. but it is something that we need to get to be prepared. So it should be from a multi-stakeholder approach, that we have lawyers to help us know what we need to do, also researchers and academia to be able to help us understand what is needed, or if such situation happens, what we need. So we need to come up from a holistic approach. So not just individuals, but also involving the government, having policies, laws, so that if in this case AI become very intelligent, what do we do? So that it will be approached in a good manner.
One thing I know, and where we need also as humans to really fast track our skill development is in reading patterns. And just to also talk about big data as well. Right now we hear about predictive analysis and those kind of things. So you find these are now being also introduced into AI. So we are getting AI that can quickly read patterns and be very advanced than humans. Military as well right now are heavily involved in how to manipulate a population. So it already puts us at a place where AI is already being used to manipulate the human population without us really knowing that we are being manipulated. TikTok has an algorithm that suggests content when you view. So this algorithm can easily be weaponized to engineer a society in a particular way, subconsciously, without us knowing we are actually being socially engineered. Yeah? So those are some of the risks that are currently present. But yeah, as much as they're trying to perfect AI and come up with news anchors, I've seen there's a pilot for air hostesses as well. So as much as we are seeing those coming in, it's more of us as humans to start quickly developing how we adjust and our agility in terms of accepting and exposing ourselves to different contexts of our environments and the presence of technology in our lives as well.
I think first of all there's a lot of misinformation and little information out there. For instance, for example, I was reading this on LinkedIn recently. When the calculator was coming like years ago, mathematicians were, calculators are going to take our jobs. Calculators, they have ended us. But eventually, that is the tools, those are the tools we've been working with. So I think very many people out there have been made to believe that AI is here solely to take their jobs and make them redundant. And that has limited how, when you look at something negatively, if something is the enemy, you don't have your enemies. I mean, the Bible says you should, but you don't. So yeah, that has limited how people can adapt this technology. And I think that is the biggest challenge. When you look at the African context, we still have challenges as far as internet penetration is concerned, access to devices, especially in the rural areas. So I think those are the key challenges that are limiting the growth of AI.
Regulation in terms of even protecting people's data privacy. How then do you think the government can do this as a way of helping people adopt to AI?
I think what the government needs to do is first, as he had said, it's the challenge that we have here in Africa is the data that we use. So you will find that most businesses or most businesses or most even government offices or government institutions haven't digitized their platforms. So we really don't have enough data for that, for maybe to train our own AI as Kenyans. So what I think the government needs to do is to ensure that there is more digitizations of government institutions as well as both the public and the private sector, so that we can be able to have enough data to be able to train our own systems. While at it also, I think the government also needs to incentivize these startups to ensure that they build their own tools or to be able to drive innovation in Kenya or even Africa. So the government really has a huge role to play to assist these businesses or individuals to be able to create tools or to be able to create systems that are AI driven. Other than that, they also need to ensure, I know the Data Protection Act is already there in Kenya, but also the government should really ensure that the data that is being collected is inclusive and is used well by the businesses. So the role of the government should also ensure that this data that is being collected is collected responsibly and is used responsibly.
The most important thing in the regulations that are supposed to be put in place is minimalization of data. If I'm looking at data for people's ages, I just need the years of birth and that's it. So I think we also need regulations that minimize the collection of data and use of data as well.
The first way we can use AI to protect people, or rather to improve on data privacy, is to just automate processes. That's the obvious way. Let everybody that's involved in the tech space automate their processes. And if the processes are automated in line with the law, then of course privacy supersedes anything else. And I just wanted to chime in on what he said about human rights, And I kept wondering, do we have a law other than the Data Protection Act in Kenya that will protect Kenyans or Africans against breaches when it comes to AI? And I thought, of course, of the Constitution, the right to privacy, and the human rights. And if we don't look at the Constitution, at least we can look at the international treaties. The international treaties on human rights, we have so many of them that we were ratified. And if the key players in the big data industry can comply with these treaties, then AI will be as successful as it possibly can, because we will be ensuring that human beings are properly protected. And when I talk about human rights in AI, what really am I saying? I'm saying, are you being discriminated against because you're a woman? Are you being discriminated against by AI because you're African? Are you being discriminated by AI because of your sex? If we could come up, me and my people could come up with guidelines that ensure that the creators of AI and the users of big data are following these guidelines in terms of human rights, then I think the future is bright for AI. But as long as human rights is running against AI, then I don't think we're going to win this race.
How do you think that digital transformation has impacted even the media ecosystem within Africa? And what opportunities have it presented to us?
From the past, if you look at maybe in the Kenyan context, like maybe the era of digitization has come in, maybe you can give it maybe some years back, maybe 10 or 2, or even you can say 5 years ago. But at it again, it's something that is still going on. The digital transformation is still going on. So out of this, we have been able to see that operations have become seamless. So imagine in a situation maybe like a long time ago, for you to be able to apply for something, let's say your passport, or apply for your ID, you could visit maybe first, go to the local chief, then go through all that entire process. But now since the government has tried to digitize that process, it is very easy now. So you just go to Citizen platform, so you are able to fill in your details, you apply for the passport or for your ID. Then wait now for the appointment. Again, it is on the platform. So you wait for the appointment. So you select the date that you are available. So you are able to select the date that you feel convenient. Unlike in the past, so you could only visit maybe the government offices when they issue the ID, the immigration. So you go there and queue for a very long time. But with the digital transformation now that things have been digitized, so you just wait for the appointment.
Social media is unruly. Misinformation, people share private information about others, issues of cyberbullying as well. How then do we regulate this space, even as we try to really adapt to the changes?
trying to regulate social media is trying to tame a genie, you know? You know the way you put a genie in a bottle and then when you open the bottle it just goes, whoa. That's us trying to regulate the social media space. And because regulations are usually within jurisdictions, like Kenya has a specific regulation, Uganda has a specific regulation, and all over the world. It's a bit of an uphill task for us to try and regulate social media because the question would be, social media is under which jurisdiction? It's a virtual space. And as we speak right now, there is no treaty, international or otherwise, that is specific to the virtual space. So the best that the government can do is regulate social media that operates within its jurisdiction. On the issue of whether we can lift the corporate veil and the instances it can be lifted, perhaps for just to break it down, lifting up the corporate veil of a company is where when we are suing you, we don't sue the company, we sue the directors. And that's what we call lifting the corporate veil. And as I mentioned earlier, a company is considered a legal entity, and that means it has the capacity to sue, it has the capacity to own property, it has perpetual succession. But we only lift the corporate veil if, number one, there is fraud by the directors. Yeah? So if we can prove that there is fraud, then the directors will be sued in their individual capacity. The question of whether you as an employee of a company will be sued when the corporate veil is lifted is neither here or there because you are an agent of the company. And the minute the corporate veil is lifted, we are going after the director. So unless you are working under a director as an agent of the director, then you will be sued. But once the corporate veil is lifted, you don't have to worry about being sued as an employee. Only as a director is when you'll be sued.
How technology can be used to help the small-scale farmers is by optimization. So when you optimize and you use your data correctly, you will know the right time to plant and the right time to take your yields to the market. Because what we have right now is we are planting based on assumptions and based on trends we've seen over time, and we are not putting in consideration how many farmers are doing the same thing that we are doing. Yeah. So if we're able to optimize and advise the small farmers what to plant, where to plant, and how to market their plantation, then we do away with the cold storage because it's more of from the farm to the table.
Take it or leave it. Take with TECH. So, and if you leave it, it will just catch up with you or you're left behind. Thank you, and that is why we close up this panel discussion. I've been your moderator, Flora Limukii, a journalist at TV47. So if you're here and you're looking for a moderator for your next event, look no further. You have a lovely evening.